And if you're thinking, but I want to impress them, remember, impressing is about proving. Leading is about listening. Big difference. Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm here trying to shoot an episode for the podcast and I'm struggling. I've had 3 or 4 takes here just trying to get this podcast off. And each time I keep hitting a roadblock. And, the amazing part is I've been shooting podcasts now, well over 250 podcasts here on this podcast alone. And there's days when it is easy, comes quickly. I have full clarity. And there's other days where it's not exactly simple. There's times when I start and the next thing you know, I say it's all junk and I stop and start again. And, it's, it's a process. And I share that with you guys because I was at church this week and the pastor came up and she was talking about how at times she gets anxiety coming up and speaking. And, so does her husband, our other pastor. And what's amazing is to think, wait a minute here. These people speak every week. They speak to crowds multiple times a week. How can they possibly have this fear or anxiety that comes around speaking to groups? They've been doing it most of their lives. But I'm sharing that with you guys because no matter who you are out there aren't many of us out there that can just jump right in front of a camera or in front of a mic, balancing everything that we're doing in life, whether it's family or spirituality or physicality or whatever it might be that you're dealing with in life, and just pull the camera up and start shooting. So as my pastor spoke about this weekend, she spoke about, coming forth and just admitting it and admitting her anxiety that she gets before she comes up to speak. And I wanted to do that with you guys as well, because this morning I'm trying to fire off some great content. I'm convicted to share, and I keep hitting this roadblock. And I know it's the enemy trying to stop me from sharing the message that I'll share today. But there's something about confessing those things and saying them out loud that takes the power of the enemy away. And it allows us to move through and do the good work we're supposed to be doing. So guys, I wanted to share that with you this morning. Thank you for listening. And today I want to dive into a fundamental truth that has changed everything for me. It's the reason why I even decided to write a book. For you guys out there listening, some may know, some may not, that I decided to write a book for industry. It's called the Core 10 Sales Playbook. And really, it was a collection of these core fundamental principles that I've learned over the years that has helped close high ticket sales for us for almost 30 years now. Would sell something, I'd go back. And I didn't do this in the beginning, of course, but more recently, now that I'm collecting all this information and putting it in a book, I started realizing, every time that we got a yes from a customer, it was because we followed these same 10 core fundamental truths that we have in business. And I want to share one with you today. One of the first cores in the book is the core number 1. It's called talk less, close more. And man, I tell you one thing, back in the early days, when I used to do my sales, I watched everybody around me, and what they would do is they would talk and talk and talk. They would talk the customer into the project, right? That was the goal of talking the customer into the project. And the crazy part is that it's not, I know now that's different, but back then that's what I saw around me. I used to talk way too much. And here's the craziest thing, guys. I didn't even realize that I was talking too much. I thought that's what salespeople do. They talk a lot. And here's what I've learned, not just writing this book, but over the years of becoming more successful in communicating with customers, or heck, anybody for that matter, is that I thought that I needed to prove that I was the right choice by dumping my processes, my materials, my certifications, photos of past projects. Like it was the me show. It was the, hey, look how great I am. I need to prove to you that I am worthy of hiring. Any listeners out there feeling that? I know that was my MO for a long time. I had to have the fanciest portfolio, book. I actually had books. I went on to Shutterfly and I had portfolio books made up, beautiful books of all of our projects. And I would put them on the counter and show. And I just had to constantly prove to customers that we were the right choice. And that was my main focus of selling was proving to the customer that I was the right choice. And here's what I missed, guys. This is what I missed, and what I realized now that I'm becoming more mature in my life is that customers, they don't want you to prove that you're the right choice for them. They want to prove that for themselves. They want to make that decision for themselves. And the way that happens, and I go deep into this in the book, the way this happens is by asking great questions and being quiet, not talking a lot, fighting the urge to speak and speak and speak and speak because of, I don't know, trying to prove yourself or trying to make sure that you sound better than the last guy that was in there trying to sell that project or sell a project to the customer. So what I've realized is he or she who asks the great questions and has self-control enough to know when to speak and when not to speak is the ones that actually sell the project. Because customers, they don't want more specs. They don't want more of you to show them or prove to them that you're the perfect choice for them. What they want is you to hear them, to feel them, to understand them, for them to feel like they actually matter to you. And the fastest, best way to do that is by asking questions and letting them be the stars of the show, giving them space to be able to open up to ideas they may never have thought about before. So what would it look like to let your clients discover for themselves that you're the right choice without needing to say it? So here's the real power move. Lead by listening. Let them talk. Let them open up. Let them reveal the pain they're trying to escape. And mark my words, there is pain there. Now, you guys might not be like doctors where you have a patient come in with a broken arm and you can see very clearly where the pain is. But with outdoor living, if people are going to spend 5, 6 plus figures on their backyard, there's a pain deep down, an emotional pain, most likely, that they're trying to solve for, that they're trying to bandage up or take out of their lives. And the way we get there is by asking great questions and getting deeper into the world of your customer. That means slowing it down, talking to less people, but going deeper with each one. And deep down, they're trying to build something. I go deep into this in a book as well about some of the pain points that customers come to you for that they don't always communicate. They're not going to come to you and say, hey, you know what? I really, really don't like my backyard because my kids out there, they really feel unsafe. I don't want to let them out there. Some clients might tell you that, but most probably won't. They're just going to be like, yeah, I just want a new patio. I want a new deck. I want a new pergola. But deep down, there is a pain. And it's our job as sales professionals, as sales detectives, to go deeper and find what that pain is. Because once you get to that pain, that's where the gold comes out. That's where the customer is like, oh, wow, this is the first contractor that's come in that actually understands me, that I can hear, that has heard me. We thought we just wanted a patio, a seating wall, and some lighting, but that really doesn't solve our bigger, deeper pain. So here are a few questions you can ask yourself and maybe even journal after your next sales call. How will you stay curious about their project instead of trying to convince them that you're the right fit? Can you let go of the need to sell and trust that the right client will choose you? What if leadership isn't about pitching, but about pausing? Every time you interrupt with advice, a pitch, or a process, you're stealing their clarity. But when you hold space for them to think out loud, they feel heard, they feel seen, they feel safe. And guess what? People buy from those who make them feel safe. So here's your challenge this week. In your next consult, aim to speak no more than 30% of the time. That's right, you heard me. 30% of the time. Ask bold questions like, what inspired you to reach out now? Then just listen. Use silence as a tool. And when they answer, pause. Let it breathe. Let them expand. And that silence, that's where trust is built. And if you're thinking, but I want to impress them, remember, impressing is about proving. Leading is about listening. Big difference. Clients don't hire who talks the most. They hire who makes them feel the most understood. Now, this is just one of the core 10 sales fundamentals that I go through deep in my book, the core 10 sales playbook. It'll be available here early 2026. And if you'd like a copy of it, fresh off the press as it comes out, go to the show notes here. You'll see a link where you can go in and get your name in there so that I can send you a link as soon as it's available. So guys, thank you for listening today. Remember, when you go out to meet with customers, it's time to work a little less. It's time to stop trying to prove to your customer that you're the right fit, that you're the right choice. I know how it is. It's fall. Some of your calendars are busy. Some of them aren't busy. And The goal here is to try to fill them up, but you don't want to fill them up with the wrong people that eventually you're going to lose money on. So our goal here is to fill them up with the right people. And sometimes that means less. Less sometimes is more. So what I'm telling you is to listen, to ask great questions, to lead like a detective, and to speak less than 30% of the time and lead with great questions. Guys, if you do that little bit, that little thing each week, each time you go out and meet with customers, it's going to blow your mind how fast your customers open up and how many more yeses you get from them. So guys, thanks for listening. Talk to you next week.